When it comes to understanding the depth of human connection, it is often not the loud declarations or public gestures that matter most, but the subtle cues that quietly reveal where someone's heart truly lies. People can be hesitant to reveal their real emotions for fear of rejection, vulnerability, or even a loss of control, yet there are signs that speak more powerfully than words. These emotional signals often appear in ways that are not direct but cannot be ignored if you are attentive. One of the clearest indications that someone's heart already belongs to you, even if they hesitate to admit it, is the way they protect their presence around you. Think about the way they notice details others overlook, your small changes in mood, your tone of voice, or even the way you pause before speaking. This heightened awareness is not a coincidence. It is a psychological marker of care, deeply rooted in the human instinct to attach meaning to those who matter most. When someone is emotionally invested, their attention naturally sharpens, and they begin to pick up on things about you that many others would dismiss as trivial. Another emotional sign is the way they manage silence with you. For most people, silence between two individuals can feel awkward, creating a sense of unease. But when the heart has already leaned toward someone, silence becomes less of a void and more of a comfortable space to simply exist together. If someone seems at peace sitting next to you without the need to constantly fill the air with words, it is a sign of trust and emotional alignment. This comfort with silence signals that they feel connected without needing constant validation through speech. You may also notice a consistent pattern of small sacrifices. They may never frame it as sacrifice. Perhaps they stay up later to hear you out, change their schedule slightly to align with yours, or go out of their way to provide you with something they know will ease your day. None of this may seem dramatic, but emotionally it is revealing. To prioritize someone else's needs or comfort without drawing attention to it suggests that the person has already placed you in a significant place within their inner world. Emotional depth often shows itself in micro-expressions, the fleeting signals of feeling that pass across a person's face before they can compose themselves. For instance, the quick softening of their gaze when you speak, the unguarded smile when you share something small, or the shadow of concern when you're troubled. These moments may vanish quickly, but they are difficult to disguise because they arise before conscious thought can interfere. Such micro-expressions are part of how humans reveal their truest attachments, even while trying to keep them hidden. Another strong indicator is how your pain affects them. People can sympathize with many, but empathy at a deeper level reveals itself when your distress seems to weigh on them as if it were their own. They might not openly declare their concern, but you'll see it in their restlessness, in their attempts, sometimes clumsy, sometimes thoughtful, to make things easier for you. When your struggles seem to echo in their heart, it is because they are emotionally invested in your well-being. Still, fear often silences confession. Someone may feel that admitting how much you matter to them exposes them to possible loss. This hesitation is not necessarily a lack of courage. It may be a protective measure. Human beings are wired to guard against emotional harm, and for some, the potential of rejection is felt so strongly that they prefer to show care indirectly rather than risk everything through words. Understanding these hidden signs requires patience and sensitivity. Misreading them can create unnecessary confusion, but paying careful attention without demanding clarity too soon can allow these feelings to unfold naturally. Often, the one who hesitates to speak is hoping that time will make the bond undeniable, eliminating the need for difficult declarations. Consider the paradox. The deeper the feeling, the harder it may be to voice. People can easily state surface, level attractions, or casual affections. But when the connection feels life-changing, it is not unusual to see them retreat into silence, gestures, and indirect ways of showing care. This hesitation reflects the gravity of their emotions rather than a lack of them. Think of the way someone may linger in your presence longer than necessary, not because they need something, but simply because being near you feels like a form of belonging. Think of the way their eyes follow you when they think you are not noticing, or the way they recall small things you mentioned weeks ago. All of these moments, though subtle, point toward a truth their words may not yet dare to reveal. In many ways, human beings reveal their truest feelings in the spaces between their words, in their pauses, their actions, their silences, and their unguarded expressions. To recognize these signs is not to pressure them into confession, but to acknowledge the reality of what already exists beneath the surface. At the core of this understanding lies an essential truth. Love, or deep attachment, does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers. And often, those whispers are far more powerful than the declarations many wait to hear. So when you sense someone is holding back, pay attention not only to what they say, but to what they consistently do. It is in the little sacrifices, the attentive details, the comfort in silence, the micro expressions, and the weight they carry on your behalf that you will see their heart revealed. They may fear to speak it aloud, but their emotions are already making themselves known, piece by piece, in ways that are difficult to disguise. By learning to read these signs with patience and understanding, you gain a deeper insight into the unspoken language of the heart, where truth often resides long before words dare to follow. When emotions take root but words remain unspoken, a curious dance begins. You might notice someone withdrawing at the very moments when closeness seems most natural. Instead of stepping forward with an open heart, they take a step back, not because they do not care, but because they care too much. The more deeply one feels, the greater the fear of being exposed. This paradox often reveals itself when someone laughs with ease in a group yet turns guarded the moment the spotlight shifts between just the two of you. That hesitation is not indifference. It is the quiet weight of feelings struggling against the risk of vulnerability. One of the most revealing signals lies in the way they listen. Most people hear words only as they pass, but someone whose heart leans toward you remembers. They recall the story you told in passing weeks ago, or the small wish you mentioned casually, and later you find that they bring it up again, almost as if testing to see whether you noticed their attention. This kind of memory is not about sharp intellect, it is about priority. When someone values you deeply, their mind holds on to the fragments of your voice, carrying them long after the conversation ends. Another subtle mark of their hidden attachment is the tension between presence and distance. They may show up consistently, yet sometimes appear conflicted, as if fighting an inner battle. Perhaps they text but hesitate to press send, or they reach out to see you and then pull back with an excuse. This inconsistency can be confusing, but in truth, it often signals not a lack of care, but the burden of too much. Their mind oscillates between the desire to draw closer and the instinct to guard themselves from possible loss. Then there is the way they mirror you without realizing it, the tilt of your head, the rhythm of your speech, even the phrases you use. Over time, these begin to echo back from them. This subtle mimicry is rooted in psychology. When the heart invests itself, the body unconsciously aligns. They do not plan it, but their actions begin to sync with yours, a wordless declaration of connection. You might notice how they respond to your successes. Some will applaud politely, but when someone's heart is entangled with yours, their pride for you carries a different weight. Their joy is almost personal, as though your accomplishment has lifted them too. They might downplay it or disguise it with humor, but beneath it is a glow that cannot be manufactured. Your growth, in some sense, feels like their own. Equally telling is the way they navigate your struggles. It is not only in moments of major crisis, but in the subtle shifts of your day. When your voice lowers or your mood dims, their entire posture changes. They may become unusually attentive or restless, even if they do not fully understand the situation. Their concern leaks out despite their attempts to stay composed. This is not sympathy at a distance. It is empathy that anchors itself in the heart. Yet for all these signs, the strongest may be the protective distance they sometimes create. It may seem contradictory, but people often step back not because their feelings are weak, but because they are strong. They may fear that if they reveal too much, they will lose control of the relationship, or worse, lose you. This self-protection is their way of testing the waters, hoping time will prove the bond solid enough to withstand openness. Another aspect to notice is how they behave in your absence. You may hear from others that your name comes up when you are not around, or you may find that they recall things you never expected them to hold on to. This unseen presence of yours in their conversations and thoughts reveals how much space you occupy in their inner life. Even if they never say it outright, the echoes of your influence show through their words and actions. When two people are emotionally aligned but one hesitates to reveal it, time becomes the most powerful factor. Often, their hidden feelings leak out in ways they cannot control. They may send a message late at night without realizing the timing exposes their thoughts. They may stumble in their words, trying to sound casual while everything inside them speaks otherwise. In such moments, their heart is speaking despite their effort to contain it. It is also worth paying attention to their gaze. Eyes betray far more than carefully chosen words. The way someone looks at you in unguarded moments, lingering just a little longer, softening without reason, or scanning your face as if trying to memorize it. These are gestures impossible to fake for long. The eyes often say what the mouth dares not. But perhaps the most profound sign is in the way they seem unsettled by the possibility of losing you. Even if they never confess, their actions reveal a subtle urgency. They may not speak of it, but their consistency in staying near, their quiet efforts to make life easier for you, or even their nervousness at the thought of distance, these are the truths of attachment pressing against the barrier of fear. To interpret these signs is not to demand a declaration. It is to recognize that the heart has a language that operates in gestures, silences, and actions before it ever finds words. Some people fear their own depth of feeling because it changes everything they thought they could control. They may delay their confession not because the bond is weak, but because it is too strong to be taken lightly. In this space between hesitation and revelation, patience becomes the bridge. If you notice these signs, it means you are already in the orbit of their emotions. The choice you hold is whether to let time bring those emotions to light or to gently invite them into openness by showing that their vulnerability will not be met with rejection. The heart speaks quietly, but when you learn to listen, you begin to see truths that words often fail to carry. And sometimes, the most powerful connections are the ones that reveal themselves in the silence between sentences, in the care tucked inside small gestures, and in the eyes that hold more than they ever dare to admit aloud. There is a certain kind of quiet that tells you more about a person's feelings than 1,000 spoken declarations ever could. When someone's heart already belongs to you, their behavior takes on a rhythm that is difficult to conceal. They may never admit it openly, but everything about the way they move around you carries traces of a truth they are not ready to voice. One of the most telling aspects is the way they hold back when they want to say more. You might notice a pause in their speech, a sudden change in subject, or a moment when their eyes reveal something their words do not. This tension between what they feel and what they allow themselves to show becomes almost like a language of its own. It is not the absence of emotion, but the overflow of it that creates this hesitation. Their silence is not emptiness, it is weight. Another subtle sign lies in the way they become protective, sometimes in the smallest ways. It could be as simple as walking on the side of the road nearest traffic, adjusting something for your comfort without calling attention to it, or stepping in when they sense you are uneasy. They may not frame these actions as care, but they are. When the heart has already given itself away, it becomes impossible not to create small shields of safety around the person who matters most. You might also notice how your laughter changes them. A joke shared with others may make them smile politely, but your laughter seems to spark something deeper. It is almost as if your joy becomes fuel for theirs. They may look at you a second too long, or their smile may linger long after the moment has passed. This connection to your happiness is not casual. It is emotional investment revealing itself through their responses. Another sign is the way they struggle with consistency. Feelings they are trying to hide create a pull and push pattern. They may lean close one moment and retreat the next. Perhaps they send a thoughtful message and then act distant afterward. This inconsistency can be confusing to those on the outside, but beneath it is a very human conflict, the desire to be close clashing with the fear of exposure. Their mixed signals are not a lack of clarity about you. They are evidence of too much clarity about themselves. Then there is the way they notice your vulnerabilities. Where others might overlook, they pay attention. They sense when your energy drops or when your tone shifts, even slightly. Instead of ignoring it, they adjust their behavior. Sometimes they try to lift your spirits. Other times, they simply sit quietly with you, letting their presence offer steadiness. This awareness does not come from casual interest. It comes from the heart's tuning. When someone is emotionally bound, they attune themselves to the fluctuations of the person they care for. At times, they may seem almost restless around you. It is not because they are uncomfortable in your presence, but because their emotions make them unsure of how to act. Should they reveal more? Should they hold back? Should they treat you like everyone else when clearly you are not like everyone else to them? That restlessness, though subtle, is often a sign of affection struggling against restraint. A particularly powerful clue is found in their timing. Notice when they reach out. Often it is when you least expect it, but most need it. Perhaps they message late at night without knowing you are awake, or they appear just when you are feeling uncertain. This pattern suggests an intuition about you, a sense that they are emotionally aligned with your state of being. They may not even consciously realize how their timing reveals their connection, but it does. Their friends may also give away more than they intend. Sometimes the people close to them know what they feel even before they fully admit it to themselves. You may catch small comments, a gentle teasing, or knowing looks. When a person speaks about you often enough to those around them, it leaves a trail that no hesitation can fully erase. Perhaps the most profound indicator is the way they respond to distance. If you pull away slightly, you may find that they notice quickly, even if they do not say so. Their energy shifts, their presence becomes more intentional, or their attempts to reconnect increase. People rarely react so strongly unless the bond has taken root in their heart. That sensitivity to distance is a reflection of the fear that losing you would mean losing something far deeper than they are ready to confess. But behind all of these signs lies one central truth. When feelings are genuine, they cannot remain hidden forever. They spill out in gestures, in patterns of attention, in the protective instincts that surface without permission. The longer someone tries to hold them back, the more they appear in ways that words alone could never capture. To see these signs clearly is to understand that love often unfolds in layers. It does not always announce itself with certainty. More often it grows quietly, weaving itself into actions, timing, and unspoken connections. And sometimes the delay in confession is not because the feeling is weak, but because it is so strong that the person fears it might change everything. If you pay attention, you will find that the heart speaks most honestly when it tries hardest to stay silent. It is in the pauses, in the gaze, in the gentle protection, and in the restless presence that their truth becomes visible. They may be afraid to show it, but their heart has already chosen. And perhaps, in time, the courage to bring those feelings into words will come. But even before that moment, the truth is already there, woven into every action, every glance, and every unspoken care that points unmistakably in your direction.